The unexpected death of Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi has sent shockwaves through the U.S. stock market. If you're wondering how this impacts the market, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll reveal the 3 areas in the stock market that will benefit the most from his death. But his death goes beyond just market impacts. What could all this mean for America? Could this be a precursor to war? And are Americans somehow to blame? This is RGM Worldwide, and it's time to clock in. The sudden crash of the helicopter carrying President Ebrahim Raisi and his senior officials has plunged Iran into political turmoil. The Iranian government's initial silence only fueled widespread speculation and public unrest. As state TV confirmed the deaths, theories about the cause began to spread rapidly. Was it a weather-related accident or something more sinister? Conspiracy theories have ranged from Israeli involvement to internal power struggles. The regime's history of tampering with crash sites only adds to the distrust. The political vacuum left by Raisi's death has intensified the scramble for power among Iran's elite, threatening further instability both domestically and internationally. On the streets, the Iranian people are in a state of confusion and anger. Protests have erupted, with citizens demanding transparency and accountability from their government. Many are skeptical of the official narrative, suspecting foul play or governmental negligence. The public's discontent reflects deeper frustrations with the regime's handling of the country's affairs, exacerbating an already volatile situation. In the midst of this chaos, the question arises, how will Iran's foreign policy shift, and what does this mean for global politics? The immediate aftermath suggests a nation on edge, with potential implications that could ripple far beyond its borders. As Iran grapples with this loss, the world watches closely, bracing for the potential fallout. The death of Ebrahim Raisi has heightened geopolitical tensions, particularly between Iran and the U.S. This incident adds a new layer of complexity to an already strained relationship. Historically, Iran and the U.S. have been at odds, with conflicts ranging from nuclear ambitions to regional influence in the Middle East. Raisi's death could destabilize these delicate balances further. Iran's political landscape is now more volatile than ever. The power vacuum left by Raisi is likely to trigger a fierce battle among Iran's elite, which could lead to unpredictable shifts in policy and governance. This internal chaos makes Iran more unpredictable, raising concerns among its neighbors and global powers alike. For the United States, the immediate concern is how this instability will affect its strategic interests in the Middle East. The Biden administration must now navigate a delicate path, balancing the need to maintain regional stability with the imperative to prevent Iran from exploiting this chaos to advance its nuclear ambitions. The U.S. has historically employed a mix of diplomatic pressure and military readiness to contain Iran's influence, and this strategy will be tested in the coming weeks and months. The possibility of military escalation cannot be ignored. With conspiracy theories about Israeli involvement circulating, there's a risk that Iran might retaliate against perceived external threats, drawing the U.S. into a broader conflict. The U.S. military presence in the region, including bases and naval forces, might be on high alert to respond to any provocations. Diplomatically, the U.S. will likely push for renewed negotiations, possibly seeking to engage with Iran's new leadership. However, the success of these efforts will depend on who emerges as Iran's new leader and their willingness to engage with the West. The uncertainty surrounding Iran's political future adds a layer of complexity to any diplomatic initiatives. The death of Raisi also has broader regional implications. Allies like Saudi Arabia and Israel will be closely monitoring the situation, as any shift in Iran's policy could impact their security and strategic calculations. The U.S. will need to coordinate with these allies to ensure a unified response to any potential threats. Raisi's death has introduced a new level of uncertainty and risk in an already volatile region. The U.S. must be prepared to adapt its foreign policy strategies to navigate these turbulent waters, balancing the need for stability with the imperative to counter Iran's ambitions. As events unfold, the potential for both diplomatic breakthroughs and military confrontations will shape the future of U.S.-Iran relations. The death of President Ebrahim Raisi comes at a time when Iran's economy is already struggling under the weight of extensive international sanctions. These sanctions, primarily imposed by the United States and its allies, target key sectors of Iran's economy, including oil exports, financial transactions, and access to international markets. Sanctions have severely restricted Iran's ability to sell its most valuable exports, particularly oil. As one of the world's largest oil producers, these restrictions have drastically reduced Iran's oil revenues, which are crucial for its economy. Additionally, sanctions on Iran's banking sector have isolated it from the global financial system, making it difficult for Iranian businesses to engage in international trade. Iran's top-selling products such as oil, natural gas, and petrochemicals are central to its economic health. The instability following Raisi's death could further jeopardize these critical exports. With sanctions already squeezing the economy, any additional disruptions could have severe consequences. This brings us to the critical question. What does this mean for the U.S. stock market? So the president died in a helicopter crash, right? What do helicopters need to fly? Exactly, oil. Oil is Iran's most valuable product. It's what keeps their economy running, allowing them to sell to many countries around the world, including influencing markets in the U.S. With Raisi's death, the Iranian government is facing increased instability, which could lead to significant disruptions in oil transportation. Think about it. If this political turmoil escalates into conflict, Iran might halt oil exports altogether. Even worse, a war could result in the destruction of Iran's oil infrastructure, leaving the country with no product to sell. This would not only devastate Iran's economy but also have a massive impact on global oil supplies. Less oil supply means higher prices. It's simple supply and demand. If Iran's ability to export oil is compromised, oil prices will soar, impacting everything from gasoline prices at the pump to heating costs in the winter. This scenario has already caused oil stocks to rise as investors anticipate higher future earnings due to reduced supply. Beyond oil, the broader energy sector is also significantly affected by the instability in Iran. This includes not just oil, but also other forms of energy that Iran exports. Political instability in Iran can disrupt the global energy market, leading to price increases across the board. The uncertainty in Iran, coupled with existing sanctions, creates a precarious situation for global energy supplies. This drives up prices and increases the value of companies within the energy sector, making them prime targets for investment during turbulent times. Furthermore, the death of Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi has significantly impacted global perceptions of stability in the Middle East, leading to increased interest and activity in the defense sector. Geopolitical instability often leads to heightened military spending as nations prepare for potential conflicts or seek to bolster their security measures. The instability in Iran heightens fears of potential conflicts in the region. Neighboring countries and U.S. allies may increase their defense spending to prepare for any potential escalation. This leads to higher demand for military equipment. The uncertainty following Raisi's death could provoke regional conflicts or aggressive actions by Iran. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Israel, and others in the Gulf region may ramp up their military purchases to safeguard against any threats. The U.S. itself may increase its defense budget in response to the heightened risk in the Middle East, including funding for new military equipment, research and development, and other defense-related projects. In times of geopolitical uncertainty, investors often turn to sectors perceived as stable or essential. Defense stocks are seen as relatively safe investments because national security remains a priority for governments regardless of economic conditions. For example, following Raisi's death, defense stocks like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman have seen significant gains as investors anticipate increased defense spending and heightened demand for military equipment. By examining and understanding how these geopolitical events translate into movements in the stock market, we can identify the sectors that stand to benefit the most. As investors navigate these turbulent waters, focusing on industries linked to these critical exports provides insights into where opportunities and risks lie. If you want to know exactly which stocks are benefiting from this crisis, watch our video on the top 5 war stocks to find out. This will give you a detailed look at the stocks from each of the 3 areas in the stock market we've discussed today.